All right, Dion, let's analyze this mayor's race better than anybody else can do it, right? Okay.
Maybe, maybe
You
not.
got anything to say about is it a race like no other New York mayoral race?
The media and the citizenry of New York is making it always the bigger threat around the next corner, always exciting and political theater. Whereas I, as a professional, know Mandami won this race in June, and that's it. It's all about how many percentage points he'll win by, or everybody else loses by. And we'll go into those nuances later.
All right. You mean when he won the primary, that was the beginning and the end?
He has the D next to his name. That's all he needs. And now that Uncle Trump has made his voice known, these people are gonna be nice and scared to vote for him.
All right, but didn't they say the weather was very hot on that primary day and a lot of elderly people didn't go and vote?
Potentially, but even though right now they're saying that mostly, what millennials voted or people above 45 and older voted. That's the majority or something like that. Still, these blue Kool-Aid addicted zombies, me vote Democrat, Democrat,
Democrat.
straight down the ballot. It's time for my high holy day called voting, my superpower. There's no stopping him. All we can do is try to save some conservative Republican seats, like here in the Bronx, the 13 councils district that is red now, first time in 40 years, in the bluest county there is. What are millions of Democrats here, but that's about it.
Okay. So so Cuomo was our governor, resigns in disgrace, $60 million in taxpayer funded lawsuits for his scandals. The nursing home crisis where people lost their life because of his bad decision making. Then he tried to conceal the numbers of how many people died. While he was in office, I think he got 5 million bucks to write a book. Many sexual allegations against him, including from one of his own security detail, who said that he was touching her back and rubbing her breasts, and she was a state trooper. That cost 20 million. He resigns in disgrace. His brother at CNN, Chris Como, tries to minimize things, and he ends up losing his job. I think New York was totally finished with Cuomo. He gets trunched or trounced in the Democratic Party by a newcomer, a Muslim, Zohran Mandami, who's not even been a U.S. citizen for 10 years and born in Uganda. And we thought Como's out of it, right? I thought, all right, he wouldn't be fool enough to jump back in. He can't run on the Democratic line. And then also, before we get back to Cuomo, Mayor Adams was a strong contender, and
Right.
he couldn't get any money from matching funds. He had his own scandals, and we thought Cuomo was all washed up. And all of a sudden, some billionaires came into the game and started flooding newspapers and media and said, "Your favorite guy is back, someone who knows how to do the job." And I didn't see but a small handful of people falling for that. Some elderly people who are not really paying political, they're saying, "I like Cuomo, and Cuomo will keep the city safe." But I didn't see many people buying it. I saw the flip of people despising Andrew Cuomo for many reasons. Tell me what you think about my comments and his appearance into the race. Dion, I think we got a freezing screen. You might need to go and come back in. I can't hear you if you're talking here, okay? All right, let's see if I can. I think Dion's going to maybe drop out of this space and maybe come back in. Let's see.
A back office, and it's like the Wi-Fi is going in and out.
Oh,
Somebody's phone banking, but yes, here.
all right. You came back in. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, go ahead.
So I asked you, I sort of gave a little historical month by month rundown, roughly, of, you know, uh, Adams, the mayor. He's a story in himself, but he's out of the equation. He didn't actually run in the end. So we had basically a race between Curtis Sliwa, founder of the Guardian Angels. For 40 years, he's been protecting neighborhoods. The guy knows every single subway station. Can I ask you yes/no questions like a trial attorney? Do you mind?
Let's do it.
All right. So, and I'll get the bad, the good and the bad too. Okay. So, yes or no? Does anybody know the subway system of New York City, which is pretty darn extensive? Does any of those candidates, Cuomo, Zohran, and Curtis Sliwa, who knows the subway system better than anyone?
Curtis.
And does he know it overwhelmingly better than the others or marginally
Yes.
better?
Overwhelmingly. Yes.
Right. Has he not been patrolling the subways as volunteer and with his volunteer group, the Guardian Angels, for a few decades?
Yes.
Yes. And don't they even have a kind of cool little outfit with the red berets and the t-shirt with the wings?
Yes.
And when you'd see them, maybe it wasn't cool, but it was fun to see them. I thought they were cool. Weren't they kind of liked in New York? Basically, people liked them.
They became a fixture, yes.
Yeah. And even I know some people, when I was a little kid, I thought, wow, I'd like to be in the Guardian Angels. I thought
I have friends that are the same.
Right. They were pretty cool. And also, doesn't he seem like he understands the prison system better than others? He's really followed politics more than any politician.
Yes.
Better than Cuomo and Mandami. Curtis understands Rikers Island and the other prisons.
He's been on Rikers Island.
Right. And doesn't Curtis know protests far and above and beyond even the two candidates put combined?
Yes.
And who has been more vocal about supporting pets, cats, dogs, birds, snakes, animals? Is there one candidate who's been more vocal for animals?
Yes, Curtis.
Okay. Is there one candidate who got shot in a taxi, I'm talking with a handgun, and was almost murdered as a result of speaking out against the mob?
Yes, Curtis.
Curtis, right. And, so what do you think that, he didn't win the last election, and it would have been a really interesting race if Cuomo had not descended, parachuted in, thanks to Mike Bloomberg and scumbag Bill Ackerman, who put millions and millions of dollars, called their friends on the phone, and started telling everyone in New York, vote for Cuomo and get Curtis out. Wouldn't it have been Curtis would have had to fight for his life. But don't you think that would have been a really great, great race?
You mean heads up with Mamdani?
Well, I'm just talking if Cuomo had stayed out of it like reasonable thought he should, and we really had
the whole process, and then discount Eric Adams. So the question mark would be, Ian, to help me answer your question, I need a question, which is, if we put the reset button on the racetrack, Eric Adams has to come into play and that kind of thing. So Eric Adams decides to go independent. Cuomo doesn't listen to people because Cuomo actually was asked to run. Believe it or not, he can actually honestly say that different Democratic clubs endorsed him before he even announced. And Cuomo's out of the equation. And it's just Mamdani in a primary ranked choice voting against Curtis Sliwa into November election with Mamdani, Democrat, Curtis, Republican, and Eric Adams as an independent. Would that be interesting? Or if it just ended up to be Mamdani and Curtis Sliwa in November, which one is it?
Well, I would have I thought that Eric Adams is too scandal tainted. He put in this corrupt police commissioner. I think his name was Commissioner Caban. and he started steering contracts to his cousin's catering hall. And then you had massive corruption in the NYPD under Eric Adams. Really horrible, horrible stories. And we got the new police commissioner named Jessica Tisch, and she forces out many people in internal affairs, which I think is very great. I mean, wasn't Eric, and I haven't even gotten to the indictment against Eric Adams for taking money from foreign governments, which Trump pardoned him for, which I thought was a real punch in the gut by Trump for New Yorkers. So I'm asking you, apart from his diehard fans, because I know when we went to Queensbridge, people showed support for Adams. But don't you think that he was DOA?
Yeah, it could be, but you're asking me, like, for Mondami, how can Curtis have a shot? Curtis still has no chance whatsoever in this scenario. People have to understand how civics works, in which Curtis doesn't have a chance. Even if it was Curtis versus Mondami, he still has no chance. The Democrats are too controlling. Too many people have moved out of this town for him to win, unfortunately. I wish I could give you another breakdown. But the way democracy works, that's the way it is. So even if Cuomo wasn't in the equation, in my professional experience, looking at Curtis' campaign, no slight, this is a professional critique of his campaign operations. He doesn't have what I think are the political professionals needed. And on top of that, he doesn't have the report from the Republican Party as needed here in New York City. You can see how easily they turn their back on him.
All right.
So
tell me, if it was Curtis versus Mondami and Curtis had live won at Dion Powell and Ian, do you think he would have really had a much better chance?
He probably would have a better chance, but then we have to have some kind of creative control and decision-making power, being people who have a sense of the pulse politically and also know how to navigate. Like, how many people can go into Queensbridge projects, the country's largest housing development project in the country, and ask people questions? Can Mondami do that? Can Cuomo do that? But then there's certain gatekeepers that are in place. But then again, the R word, he should have gotten a conservative party line. No slight to the Republicans, but our political party, conservative party, because I'm not a Republican, would have helped him out tremendously more than creating a third party about animal rights. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, you see, it's not about what he wants, it's about what the people want. And he has to realize that.
All right. My memory's so bad these days, but I voted in early voting. They gave me one of these big card ballots, and I went over to Curtis and I filled it out. And then I saw his name a little further under the animal rights line, and I circled it twice. And I think they rejected my ballot. They said, is it true that you just have to pick one of those, and if you pick two, it can reject your ballot? Or did I not understand?
Yes, you have 3 strikes and you're out. You have to fill out the ballot properly. You can only select one candidate for mayor, and then the rest you have to go down and figure out each category, comptroller, and then flip it over to proposals. You have to know in the back. Even the judges, if your judges are blank for other political parties and it's just Democrat, you still have to pick one or just leave it blank. You can't just mix match like a checkerboard.
I'm going to put one of the ballots up. I want to talk about Elon Musk interfering in the election, and I think he really was a scumbag. But he did have one great point, and he posted this a few hours ago. I believe it's pinned on his profile. I'm going to put up the ballot, and hopefully we can still talk to each other. I'm going to take us down from the side. Look at that. We're like a little bit funny there. Now we're very funny. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So you can see there's one of the ballot. This is by Elon Musk, right?
Mm-hmm.
It says the New York City ballot form is a scam. No ID is required. Other mayoral candidates appear twice. Cuomo's name is last in the bottom right. Now, so anyway, let's take that off. And he made, he makes his point. Are you there, Dion? What's going on here? Getting a little remove and add to stage. All right, hopefully Dion will be back. Dion is very knowledgeable about New York politics, and if there's any future politicians who plan on running in New York, you're going to want Dion Powell and Live One on your side. We pretty much know the inside and quite a bit about elections, right down to the nitty-gritty. Hopefully we'll have him back in here in a minute. And while we're here, I'll show you something I saw on the subway today. I went into Manhattan, and unfortunately, I saw this. Now, it was sunny today, but it was cold. It was cold weather. This guy doesn't even have any shoes, okay? He doesn't even have any shoes on. That is no bueno, not good. And he is one of tens of thousands. One of tens of thousands. So we were talking about Curtis, who knows the problems of New York on a street level. And what would have been ideal is to have Curtis as mayor and have Mandami run again. He could have been maybe the mayor in the next election, but not now. And I'd like to maybe put up a video while we're watching. Take a look at this video of Zohran Mandami basically lying to his viewers. Okay, let me bring this in. We're going to take a look at here. Yeah. All right, so I hope everybody can see this, and especially I hope you can hear it. So let's listen to Zohran Mandami lying to an interviewer and telling the interviewer that he would arrest
for whatever he comes for, given the US is not a signatory to the ICC, so he can travel to the US, unlike a lot of other countries. Would a Mayor Mamdani welcome Benjamin Netanyahu to the city?
No. As mayor, New York City would arrest Benjamin Netanyahu. This is a city that our values are in line with international law. It's time that our actions are also.
Even though the US is not a signatory to the ICC?
No, it's time that we actually step up and make clear what we are willing to do to showcase the leadership that is sorely missing in the federal administration.
All right, so the problem with that video is that the mayor doesn't have any authority. The mayor has no authority to arrest the diplomat. Bibi Netanyahu has diplomatic immunity. Yet you hopefully were just able to hear Zohran say, no, as mayor, we would arrest Benjamin Netanyahu. He can't arrest Benjamin Netanyahu. That's a lie, and he knows it. He knows it's a lie. If he wanted to be honest, he would say, I wish I could arrest Benjamin Netanyahu. He does have an arrest warrant for war crimes, but I don't have that authority. And that way he would have educated the people of New York, And the people who are upset with Netanyahu could think of alternative ways of handling the problem that Netanyahu has presented. So let me see if I can get Dion on the line, because he is definitely someone who we want to hear from. We call him here on the phone. That's a little example. And why did he do that? He did that because the 18 to 30-year-olds would be impressed with that. Dion? Okay. Use that same link. There you are. Okay, good. Yeah. Dion is up in the Bronx. I'm here in the Live One studio at the Capitol Rat House. You know, something I'll tell you, a little thing you may not know. We have a small micro fan here that blows the flag. Maybe we
Yes,
gotta.
that's probably the noise I hear. The flag that powers that.
No, it's pretty quiet. It's pretty quiet.
Right.
Okay. We're just audio with you right now.
Yes, I'm going to put on the camera soon. I have to move to a different location to get better Wi-Fi or closer to the router or however these things work.
Yeah.
Because being in the closet.
If you got headphones, I think you can use an iPhone pretty well too in these live streams.
I don't have an iPhone.
Okay, well, Android, I mean, any kind of mobile phone probably does it. Look at that. I'm calling the iPhone as if that's the name, like the only name for a phone. While you're doing that, maybe we'll take a look at the headlines here, what the breaking news is. Let's take a look. I can show you what is the trash rag. Now, here we are in New York City, where the New York Post is still unfortunately popular. There, you remember this son of a bitch, Rex Tillerson? Trump called him dumb as a rock. Okay, here is the cover of the New York Times. And all right, Dion, you're back. Let me get the mic over to you. You've got a mic. So,
Yes.
you know, they can't stop insulting Mandami and pushing for. Schumer won't say if he voted for Mandami as mayor. A telling moment for Dems. Okay. And, you know, the New York Post really is horrible. Absolutely horrible.
Well,
and
have their moments.
You know, but I'm looking for Mandami. Here we go. This is typical. Here's a New York Post. Really a trash rag, anti-American, totally anti-American. Yeah, they did a great story with the Hunter Biden laptop. Of course, they do have some reasonable stories. But overall, it's just not worth it. Mandami's free buses are a dangerous mistake. Well, they may be right there. We'll see. What do you think about the free buses, Dion?
Well, in the Bronx, kind of, they're technically free because everybody just hops on at one time. You can't stop us all. But I become a career criminal as a result. But yes, let's see what happens, because we were promised congestion pricing would solve all our problems. And this is the previous administration. And also, the New York City fare is going up to $3. No longer $2.90 one way. It's going to be $3 one swipe. So it's $6 round trip. Those meetings are happening or happened already with those hearings and so forth. And people aren't paying attention. So if he does make it free, the buses, we shall see.
Right. And not everybody just goes, you know, there and back home. Sometimes we use the subway 2 or 3, 4 times in the day. So we're talking like $12, for using the subway.
And Omni, they converted the Metro card and switched over to the Omni card. The Omni card is not that reliable. On top of that, we're paying more money. And as you can see, when it rains in Bedford Stuyvesant, our infrastructure is horrible. So the trains are flooded with lots of delays and shut down. How can you have a major city of New York be shut down by simple rain? It wasn't even a
Oh, we got a Wi-Fi problem. Can you still hear me? We got a Wi-Fi freeze. But I can pick up on what Dion's saying. We had heavy, heavy rain a few days ago and very serious flooding in some neighborhoods, almost such that cars couldn't go through intersections and the storm drains got clogged. You're back. Right. So let's sort of touch on things and let it go, because this is a historical moment, okay? This is pretty historical. Let's just touch on things and let it go. So Eric Adams is pretty much on the way out the door. He said that he's going to hire 7,000 new police officers or something.
right.
All right. And do you think, is he able to fulfill that? He probably will do that.
Well, it's possible because a lot of people understand that just like the federal calendar, there's a certain fiscal calendar, per city, state, and fed. Our fiscal calendar is from June 30th to July 1st. So as July 1st has happened, he still has certain things he put in the budget that still have to be paid for under the Mamdani administration, like it or not. Just like what happened with President Trump, with President Biden's expenses. So that's how they design the calendars that don't align with election season.
Right. So, all right. And what do you think about Mayor Adams?
He's a tragic character in this political theater, as it were. I did like his interview with the Reverend Al Sharpton when he actually thanked the president for, helping him out in the justice case, because they did do him dirty, and that's politics. He said people who knew me for centuries, decades, turned their back on me and said, but it was President Trump who said, look at that mayor, they're doing him wrong. He's speaking out against the migrants. And, Trump felt sympathetic for him going through his lawfare as well. So it's very tragic character. So on the way out, they did him dirty with campaign finance. They gave him his matching funds, whereas Mamdani was getting foreign money and all these other allegations and still got his matching funds, no problem. So I'm of the belief that the New York City Campaign Finance Board, as well as the Board of Elections, is compromised with this Democrat progressive socialism cancer that's in the blue team. So that's what happened to him and Cuomo as well.
Okay. And what do you have anything to say to Cuomo?
No, personally?
Well,
I would say to him is this. I hope you run again next year and primary Kathy Hochul.
Oh, okay.
Don't stop now.
Man, these politicians, we can't get rid of them. I thought we were trying to end the nightmare on humans.
No, the world keeps spinning. There's always a bigger monster around every corner. Next cycle's already started with all the Empire Democratic primary. And I hope here in New York City especially, we'll have more Democratic primaries, because primaries are very important to actually for them to purge themselves, make it easier locally for other candidates on the conservative side to win, in my opinion, whereas pushing more people over the top of the ticket on the right for the statewide races. So we'll see.
Yeah. So you just scared me there. So you mean I have a future Halloween where I'm going to be dealing with Cuomo again?
Yes. And if possible, and there's going to be more money spent on the ground. And maybe, because, again, the Republicans will eat their own if they find Cuomo who they could work with and then keep their own little status quo, as it were.
Don't you think that Curtis is kind of, do you think it's an option for, do you think he realistically might run again?
He should, in my opinion. He may not because of embarrassment, this and third, but he has too much momentum now. And Hochul is very vulnerable. What Democrat could topple her? Richie Torres made a play allegedly, but now all of a sudden he's going to be lieutenant governor, replacing Antonio Delgado, the other Afro-Latino, as it were, is going to try to primary Hochul, which is another thing. Unless the socialists, communists, Democrats, or whatever prop him up, Cuomo would be a good choice to push her. out of a statewide primary. So if I was his consultant, and hopefully, that could happen or something like that, he would do it. It would be too easy for him to win next year. It may be embarrassing now, but statewide.
All right, listeners, this is why you want to follow Dion, because I've been saying it every time we talk together, and I'm not trying to flatter him.
Well,
He knows better than anybody, and if you're running for office, you're going to want him part of your team. You're going to want Live One too. So the combination of Ian and Dion, we can basically put anybody in office. We could put a toddler brain in office. But let me ask you this: do you think that Zohran Mandami, assuming he wins, will give a nice position to Curtis Sliwa?
I don't think so. But if him and his team are smart to bring in people from the center right that are about to work into the administration in some capacity, like a Democrat would, they did with Republican Eric Ulrich, at least, throw him a bone. That will be the way to say, hey, I'm the mayor of everybody. I want to bring everybody together. But these Democrat socialists, they don't really do those kind of things. So,
Okay. So I was hoping that Cuomo would be in the dustbin of history and just forgotten. But you're saying these parasite vampires who don't have anything else to do when they're at their law firm. Did you know that Cuomo defended Bibi Netanyahu in his recent court troubles? Did you know that Cuomo signed in for that?
no, I did not. Interesting.
Yeah, a lot of things he did. And here we had Mandami saying that he would arrest Benjamin Netanyahu, if he came to New York. I played the video when we had a little bit of Wi-Fi trouble of him saying that. I want to show you something here, and I think I notified you about the election fraud that was going on in the city. So let me pull this in. I reported it to the FBI, by the way, and it should be. This kind of thing should be reported to the FBI. So can you see these? Can you see this on the screen?
Yes.
All right. So on the left, we have this guy with the turban. He's 24 years old. His name is Sahaj Preet Singh, or Sahaj Preet Singh, and he lives in Ottawa, Canada. And he created the website on the right, which the Conservative Party that you are an elected official in follows. You guys were following it, and so was I. And you can see the name is City Desk NYC. And it doesn't stop there. He created another website, which I'd like to bring up. And it's an image file. Take a look at this, because he uses this website. Can you see what we're looking at?
Yep.
So there's our foreign national who's influencing a New York election. It's called Swaying Votes. And with the website I just showed you, City Desk NYC, and this one, it's too small to see on the screen, but his handle is Doge AI _GOV. Now, when you see GOV at the end of a name, what do you assume?
That's a legitimate government entity.
Yeah, and after all, do you see a little American flag there in the avatar behind the Doge dog?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Do you see a little Capitol building in his splash photo?
Yes, I do.
Do you see? It's hard to see it, but I'll tell you, he has over 100,000 followers. And this fucking prick son of a bitch was using this site, his AI bot site, with the previous one right here. Let's take this down. He was using the one on the right, which you were following and I was following. And when he started this nonsense, he was doing equal reporting. He would do a good story on Mandami, then a good story on Cuomo, a good story on Curtis. And I thought, hey, this is a legitimate kind of city desk dispatch. And so I followed it. And then as the election bottlenecked down to the final, he started going all in for Cuomo and saying, you know, you can never win with Curtis. And so this is foreign election interference. It's deceptive by using an American flag and also using a GOV government in your handle. So I reported the guy yesterday to the FBI, and I hope.
Oh my God, Ian! Really?
Yeah, of course I did.
Why not?
Why not? And my friend said, "Listen, you got to also report it to the Department of Homeland Security." And I said, "All right." So I went on there, and guess at the top it said, "Due to the government shutdown, this website is not fully operational." And I just thought, all right, enough is enough. But anyway, so there it goes. And hopefully that guy will learn his lesson and not to push bogus Andrew Cuomo. All right, do you have anything to say to the people who pushed for Cuomo? I mean, we're talking Mike Bloomberg, you know, well-liked and respected amongst some circles, successful, super successful businessman, former mayor himself. He starts to put millions into the Anybody But Mandami campaign in support of Cuomo, and also billionaire Bill Ackerman and others. That's just a couple. What do you think about all these people putting billions of dollars in rather than just being like you and me, talking, learning, listening, and voting a single vote? What do you think of these guys?
Well, I actually like Mayor Bloomberg, and I think he might be my favorite mayor of my lifetime because the trains and the buses, you know, those apps that tell you when they come, that's all him. 12 years, good manager. Giuliani, public safety, Dinkins, history maker, whatever you want to call that. I think, and I would say to them, save your money for next year, build your war chest for next year, and push Cuomo to do that. That's what he's suited for. If the Republicans in New York City will back him, just imagine a state with this cult-like lockstep mentality. And if the president blessed him now, why not next year? So that's what I would have to say to them. To push him to run for governor, he's better suited for that. And he has enough votes in New York City, proven with this mayoral race, to push him over the top. And I'm very serious about that.
And how about the second or the first thing he should do is call Live One and Dion and have us help out with what he's going to do?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm actually thinking about, you know, joining the statewide on the right side, but we'll see what happens.
All right. So it looks like the election centers, the polling stations, everything's going to be closing pretty soon. Do you know how many days it'll take before they officially announce a winner?
For this race?
Yeah, for the mayor's race.
It should be Slaughter. He should have an answer by 10 o'clock latest, if not 9:30.
It's going to be a slaughter?
It's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be a bloodbath.
All right. You mean that the red carpet's going to be blood-soaked, right?
Yes, and then your feet will be blood-drenched.
God damn it. God damn it. What do you think about Mandami's plan to take empty retail outlets in the subway system and use them for homeless and mentally ill intake centers?
Can't wait to see implementation because he's going to win.
But what about, you know, the single women, little old ladies and men and kids who are riding that subway system, and they're going to be, you know, having to walk past and through homeless and mentally ill?
I believe it's going to be the same thing we have now, but much worse, but effective on the negative end.
It'll be effectively much worse.
Effectively much worse on the other end. Useful idiots. Ever heard that?
Yeah. What do you think of Mandami's not changing bail reform. He's going to, be light on crime.
Oh, we're gonna see with criminal justice experts, but I mean the victims of these crimes, they will speak out in 2026's ballot box.
Okay. What do you think about Mandami's plan that if somebody calls 911 and said, I have an emergency, I need the police, and the dispatch says, what kind of emergency? And if they're having a domestic violence problem, there's a possibility the 911 dispatch will send a social worker with no arrest powers, but a background in psychology.
Just want to see it in action. Let's just see it in action, because maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised to see if it actually works. And we'll all be like, whoa, this actually worked. This de-escalation, psychological feel-good worked. But if it does not, and it blows up in their face, progressively, we should see a different voting pattern, hopefully, and more changes. People leaving New York City, people voting differently, people leaving the Blue Plantation for another political party like the Conservative Party. We shall see. It's going to take time. As they say when they first get elected, he hasn't been in office that long. Let's wait and see. That happen a lot. Let's wait and see. We'll wait and see. And in 2028, we elect another Republican president.
Okay, all right. Now, what about, hold on, there's a couple more. Mandami's proposal to freeze the rent.
I don't know, because those socialists are very tricky. Like take Theo Chino, for example. He exposed, because he's a socialist Democrat, not a Democrat socialist, how the socialists use the rent freeze to push out the rent stabilized people to make it into a supportive housing for the substance abuse programs they make a lot of money off of with their good kindness and programs. So that's what I think is the end game for that.
But what's going to happen to, people who've managed to buy one or more homes, not the big real estate developers, but black and white, ethnic minority people, they've managed to buy a home and they use it for income as a rental. And now if they have to repair the roof or repair the fence or the locks on the doors, they're not going to be able to change the rent, even though material costs have gone up. If you need to buy plywood, everything's twice as expensive. Those people will not be able to change the rent and decide themselves how much they want to rent their own home for, whether it's high or low. They can't do a thing about it.
Again, they're going to have to leave the Democrats alone, join another party, and vote differently November 2026. Otherwise, they must like it.
Okay, all right. And what is another big Mandami plan? He's going to tax people 2% making over $1 million. An additional 2%, not 2%. An additional 2% if they're making over $1 million.
Well, yeah, again, we have to see how that goes in progress. These billionaires and millionaires, this is still New York City. He can't destroy the brand of New York City. That's a fact. He could destroy the city's economy, everything, but you can't tell somebody, unless he drops a nuclear bomb, this is still going to be New York and its brand. People still going to want to come here and do business here because of its popularity. Now, the question that I want to answer is, what about legalized prostitution? Why can't we have free prostitution? Look at this. Roosevelt Avenue there, Jackson Heights. You're right there, Ian. You're in the district. So we're going to have more of that. Plus, we're going to have these casinos coming in. So you got to think about how he's going to manage all those projects and also police the culture through the government with the free supermarkets. Even Latino bodega owners are against this kind of thing. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's pretty surprising to hear that a Muslim is in support of legalized prostitution.
Yes, and their spiritual, it's called haram, because blacks and Muslims kind of overlap, like whites and Jews kind of overlap culturally in families and stuff like that. So haram is a serious issue that some people, will do some drastic things in Islam, if they really want to be about their life, like it's in the East, as it were. But yes, very serious with the legalized prostitution. On top of that, the sexualization, the curriculum and education. Did you know that the public school system enrollment is low, but the article came out now, they won't be penalized financially. So that's going to get more money, even though they have less students, and there's no problem. The teachers union is happy. So there you go.
Dion, what about will you concede that Curtis is going to crush it? New York has 5 boroughs. One of them's called Staten Island. Curtis is going to take Staten Island, not Zohran Mandami, and Staten Island is not small.
Unfortunately, the population of Staten Island is small, and it's not going to really make a scratch, unfortunately, in the grand scheme of things. Just like the Bronx, the low voter turnout and population of Staten Island is not going to compare to Brooklyn, because you need Brooklyn to win. If you know the comptroller, the man, the public advocate, were from Brooklyn. But Staten Island going red is not going to compare to Manhattan's, because they're already going to break millions of votes. We have the highest voter turnout than 2021. And I'm gonna check the early voting stats. As of end of early voting on Sunday, Staten Island only has 53,000 or so people that voted. So we'll see. It's nearly 735,000 people that voted total, but they're still saying votes today are still more than 2021. But Staten Island could just say, hey, we're Staten Island, we're red, and that's it. But Curtis, remember, the Republicans are voting for Cuomo. Some protest votes will go to Eric Adams because of Trump. So that's the way it is, you know.
Okay, what do you think about Elon interfering? I just want to put up Elon Musk, his tweet the other day, if I can. And he tweeted this. He's been tweeting a lot about the mayoral race. And here it is. Can you see that? Hold on, unmute. Can you?
Yes, I can see that.
All right, can you read it out?
Remember to vote tomorrow in New York. Bear in mind that a vote for Curtis is really a vote for Mamdani or whatever his name is. Vote Cuomo. There you go.
I mean, what the hell? What the hell is this? I mean, what the hell is this?
The snickery. I love it. I love it. As a conservative party member, I love it. And that's exactly why this man, unfortunately for him, because I was with Curtis the other day in the Bronx, because his office is down the street from our city councilwoman, and the 13th, he had tears in his eyes, saying that they offered him $10 million. And next time they'll do that, he'll be sure to wear the wire to record the conversation to drop out. This man had tears in his eyes. Like he was going to cry how they were trying to destroy this man to get out the race. It's very sad. It's tragic. But that's the way the game is.
And I mean, I think somebody as powerful and wealthy as Elon, I think it's kind of insulting to call him ma'am dummy and things like that. I mean, I call Cuomo a scumbag, so maybe I'll just drop this subject and move on.
Well, guess what? Technically, Uganda and South Africa, they're both African Americans. So how's that sound?
Okay, so let's assume we get the results tonight and tomorrow. Now, I'm going to put you on the line here. Okay, I'd like to think that Curtis pulls off an unseen victory. I keep on thinking maybe, but all right. As you say, it's going to be a slaughter. Zohran Mandami will be crowned the next mayor. He takes the throne. But tell me, who gets more votes in second place? I'm serious. Take your time, because this will be a question to remember. Who gets more votes in second place?
Cuomo.
Curtis Sliwa crushes Cuomo. Second place, crushes him.
Yeah. If only we were betting people and had the money to back it. Like Bloomberg and Atkins, had jets on it, But yes, Cuomo, I'm telling you, sadly.
What about all the working people and the people who've watched Curtis for 40 years? What about all the guardian angels?
Guardian angels are one thing, but the regular people, they were scared silly to vote for Cuomo. And a vote for Curtis is what? A vote for Mamdani. So these people are programmed too when it comes to zombie-like behavior or just fear factor, in which they had to recant, like Ina Vernicall, the city councilwoman from Brooklyn, who Curtis helped become the Republican out there and turn it red. Nope, we got to go for Cuomo. And she did it. She put Cuomo in her community. They had a press conference. She spoke. That's all she wrote, in my opinion. But we have to save these small Republican city council, maybe make 1 or 2 more new Republican city council seats. I'm guessing, maybe. But that's the best we can do. Otherwise, Cuomo should run for governor next year, and we'll take the fight next year after tonight.
I'm gonna have to like open the lid of this Capitol rat house if you keep on telling me Cuomo's coming back. This is,
Are you gonna jump in it?
yeah, I may hide from all these officials. Maybe I'll jump in the race. All right, I want to ask you one more thing. We both know a lady. She does know a lot about politics, whether you agree with her views or not. I'm going to say her name, Josephine Aronson. Now
Yeah,
she's
she just DM'd me, by the way, talking a lot of stuff right here. So
right.
it looks
Well,
like you rattled her cage, and you rattled her cage.
yeah, well, I mean, she sent me some pictures of her with Kash Patel, and she's at all kinds of political events. She's been on Live One a few times. Very informative when it comes to election fraud. Really knowledgeable about election fraud. But boy, did she get angry at me. She was screaming at me, and you too, buddy. And you know why? She said we're damn fools if we believe this election hasn't been rigged, that nobody should trust elections at all. And you know what? Don't you agree with her? We still have.
This is why I want to put you with, if not so, Lulu Fierce, who has smart elections. Because as a poll watcher, you can see this real time, and that's something you should look into. I think Kim Gibson knows her. I definitely know Michael Hanel knows her, but she got thrown out of a polling site recently, and she's trying to investigate how there was a certain county that had like 0 votes for Kamala Harris. It's called Smart Elections. Shout out to her, and she's very. She can actually see through the mechanics of how the elections are stolen. Because you got to remember, district leaders for Republican and Democrat control the polling sites and the poll workers and the devices. And also, Josephine used to be a part of the New York Citizen audits, which actually proved that there are people who live to 6 figures are still voting. I mean, 3 figures rather, that are still voting, that can't be purged because of the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. They're still on the ballot. And then mail-in ballot influx of the 2020 situation of 7 million people that stayed home in 2024. These 7 million people from this mail-in ballot stuff for the presidential election. So she has some valid points. But then again, just like me and you, Ian, we have to keep ourselves grounded so we don't be in the fringes where our minds have been so far gone to a rabbit hole that we don't have solid foundation in reality. The reality is people are still going to vote. But President Trump has proved one thing in 2024, that if we get organized and we get out there, we're just going to have to make it too big to rig.
Yeah. Okay, let's wrap it up. But I have a big question for you, and we're going to have to go down, as you mentioned, let's go down the rabbi hole. Okay? We're going down the rabbi hole. Now, I want you to tell me, if Cuomo wins, was the election rigged?
Potentially, if there's enough Democrat district leaders in the polling sites in the Board of Elections that woke up, but I doubt it, because if campaign finance was compromised to hold up his matching funds and Eric Adams' matching funds and clogged up, and now discover Mondami's financial improprieties, that means the Board of Elections is still compromised. Campaign finance is still compromised. So the district leaders in the various boroughs, especially Brooklyn, there might not be enough that could be compromised or counter-compromised to balance each other out. We'll see. But unless there's a whistleblower with inside the tight steel trap of the Board of Elections, wearing the wire, lipstick cameras out the wazoo to tear that fallen system of Babylon down, then anything's possible.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I will say if Cuomo wins, the election was absolutely rigged. Absolutely.
Oh, really? Okay, good. At least you're there, Ian. You're with me, man. You interview some scary people in life, but you get it, brother. But you're still grounded. Hopefully, you won't turn on me and start cursing me out all of a sudden because I did something wrong, or maybe like someone's comment on a post or something. So you got to be careful not to turn on each other. So Josephine, you've done a good body of work. I know you've been hurt. You've watched this, but please, think about it. Come back in a productive manner, not a counterproductive manner, like with these comments, but you have a skill set most people don't. We need more people like you, and you're appreciated and valued. So don't ever feel disrespected, hurt. I know people do that on the side. They will use you and abuse you, but you have good people like me and Ian and others in this movement, in this alliance, that are changing the narrative, as it were. So.
Yeah. Well, don't stop. Flattery does charge the battery. Okay. All right, you have a great night. The night is still very young. We'll watch those numbers and votes get counted up in New York City. Tomorrow morning, we'll know who our new mayor is. Thanks a lot, Dion. You have the last word, and then I'll end the live stream, okay?
Yes, again, let's see what happens on Wednesday, November 5th, and hopefully Cuomo will quick to heal his wounds with his healing factor like Wolverine and hit the campaign trail for 2026 against Kathy Hochul, because Lisa Stefanik is just like this. So Bloomberg and all the other donors, get your money up, because that's the only hope for Cuomo to take back the state. Otherwise, are you really going to put 100% behind, the Republican Party? Because right now, as you can see, the Republican Party is not really solid, but we're going to try.
And for the real men and the real women out there in New York, you better put on your fire retardant underwear, because it's gonna be hot. Have a great night, okay?
Thanks a lot, Ian.
Thank you. See you later. Bye now.